I'm Christine Persichetti. Welcome to this special edition of Currents News. Fear is growing among Afghans and foreigners, including Americans, as the Taliban raises its threats and at times makes good on those threats with violence. Amid all this, President Joe Biden addressed the pace of evacuation from Afghanistan for the first time on Friday. Camila Bernal reports.
Chaos, confusion, and desperation. Americans and thousands of Afghans trying to leave the country, now controlled by the Taliban.
Imminent danger. They are moving from house to house, hiding from the Taliban.
Many not only struggling to get to the airport, but some U.S. flights out of Kabul also grounded for hours.
Incredibly hard time, incredibly hard time.
The U.S. government scrambling to address the crush of people looking to flee.
There's a lot of frightened people and frightened families, and there's a few casualties, and that's totally regrettable.
President Joe Biden admitting it will not be easy.
I cannot promise what the final outcome will be, or what it will be, that it will be without risk of loss.
But Biden committing to help Americans and Afghan allies.
We're going to do everything that we can to provide safe evacuation for our Afghan allies. But let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home.
Camila Bernal, Currents News.
While thousands scramble to flee Afghanistan, U.S. bishops are urging our government to speed up the relocation process, releasing a statement saying, "We know that time is of the essence to help our brothers and sisters in need, and we call on our government to act with the utmost urgency, considering all available avenues to preserve life." Meanwhile, the Papal Foundation has issued a dire warning, predicting a bleak future for religious freedom inside Afghanistan under Taliban rule. 200 Catholics make up a tiny minority of the estimated 7,000 Christians in this country that has now been taken over by Islamic extremists. The warning coming as several missionaries and Catholic Afghans are flooding the airports in an attempt to evacuate. This after both Caritas Italy and the Jesuits suspended all humanitarian work in Afghanistan, saying the instability of the situation has increased fears for the safety and well-being of Christians living there. Turning to the pandemic, the Biden administration announcing it'll offer free COVID booster shots for all Americans 18 and older.
This plan is pending the FDA conducting an independent evaluation of the safety and effectiveness of a third dose of the Pfizer and Moderna mRNA vaccines.
Boosters are set to roll out the week of September 20th. That's when adults can start getting their third shot 8 months after their second dose of either Pfizer or Moderna. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says he expects a booster for Johnson & Johnson, which was authorized after the other two vaccines, at a later date. So how important are these boosters, and should you get one? Everyone has so many questions. One person with answers is Dr. Robert Tiballi, an infectious disease specialist with the Catholic Medical Association. I asked him if the booster shots are necessary.
Well, to answer your question directly, they're going to be pretty necessary, because what has been found is that the antibody response that people carry from the full vaccination series, the two-shot series, in most situations, that tends to wane over time. Now, they've been following patients that have gotten vaccinated to see how well their serum antibody levels are and about how well they neutralize the virus. And it appears that people do need a boost in their in the vaccine series around 6 to 9 months. Now, they picked out 8 months. So that's kind of where we're going to be at. If you have been vaccinated 6 months ago, you should not get a booster until you've been vaccinated 8 months away from the time of your vaccination. So the boosters raise the antibody levels about tenfold. This is kind of interesting because in comparison to natural infection, if someone gets one of the messenger RNA vaccines after a natural infection, it seems to raise the antibody levels over 100 times. Now, the booster will probably be the same vaccine that people have gotten in their series, and that's going to be the standing recommendation.
And that was one of my questions. A lot of people are wondering, if I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, can I get the Pfizer booster?
Technically, from a theoretical standpoint, it appears to have some advantage to mix and match the vaccines because they're all a little bit different. So if you had Pfizer, maybe getting a Moderna booster would be better, or if you've got a J&J, maybe getting a Moderna or a Pfizer booster might give you enhanced immunity, a little broader immunity. But the big thing is, this is all a government-sponsored program, and they have rigid guidelines. And I believe they're not going to allow the mix and match at this time. You're going to get the same vaccine that you had in the original series.
All right, interesting. Now we've reported on the Delta variant and the Lambda variant. Now we're hearing about a new variant they're calling right now B1621. The Surgeon General says they're trying to stay ahead of the virus with these boosters. Can we stay ahead of this virus?
Well, the attachment site remains the same, but the virus may be changing a little bit in the development of the protein that it uses to attach to the human receptor on a human cell, such that the antibodies might not be nearly as effective, or they might be blocked from the target site. So there's been some, significant concern in the scientific community about the fact that the antibodies, while robust, may not be effective over time, even if you have high circulating antibodies. That's not the case right now. That's conceivably possible in the future with new variants. But as of right now, today, in August of 2021, the antibodies that the vaccine develops are quite effective. There was a recent study out of the Mayo Clinic that talked about the effectiveness dropping tremendously to 76% and 46% for the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, respectively. But that was people getting infected, period. That was not 76 and 46% against serious illness and hospitalization or death. That was just getting infected. The vaccines still remain highly effective, over about 90% or above, against serious infection, hospitalization, and death.
All right, last question I have. What about the ethics of all of this? Here we are in the U.S. about to get a third shot when some poor countries haven't even started the first round.
Well, that's a difficult question, calling that, equitable distribution. Not to be self-centered on the United States, but when the United States is healthy, it helps the whole rest of the world, because so much of the rest of the world depends on what economic activity here, scientific activity here, and so on. And the vaccines were developed here, but I do know that we are shipping hundreds of millions of doses around the world at this time. So we do want everyone to get vaccinated as soon as they can, though.
All right, Dr. Robert Tiballi, always good to talk to you. We learned so much. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And Pope Francis is joining in a Spanish language ad campaign appealing to the faithful to get their COVID vaccinations, calling it an act of love.
Vacunarse es un modo sencillo pero profundo de promover el bien común y de cuidarnos unos a otros, especialmente los más vulnerables.
The nonprofit Ad Council released the video along with the Holy Father. It features 6 Spanish-speaking cardinals from Latin America. Here in the Diocese of Brooklyn, another statue of a saint has been vandalized. This one was dedicated to the victims of COVID-19. Currents News' Jessica Easthope reports from Flushing.
This is the highlight of Lucy Santiago and Lillian Soto's day, praying in front of their parish, St. Michael's in Flushing. They usually leave happy. Today, that wasn't the case. In the early morning hours Tuesday, a man hopped this short fence in front of the church and pushed over this statue of St. Bernadette, breaking her arm.
They have no business trying to destroy the statues because they're the ones who support us, the saints in heaven.
That's the one.
The vandal was caught on camera. The police were called to investigate and tape was put up. A process Father Vincentius Doe shuddered to think he'd ever be involved in.
We never thought about this thing when we built these churches, everything was in the open, but now we have to protect ourselves.
St. Michael's joins a long list of churches and schools across the Diocese of Brooklyn that have been vandalized this year. At this spot, St. Bernadette is kneeling in front of the Blessed Mother. Surrounding them, a white flag for every parishioner lost to COVID-19. St. Bernadette is the patron saint of those who are ridiculed for their faith, but the parish doesn't think this is an attack, but a problem that goes much deeper within the Flushing community.
I tend to think that these people are suffering from some kind of mental issues. That's why I ask my parishioners to pray for them, and hopefully they get some help, because I think they do need help.
Now St. Michael's is left to literally pick up the pieces.
Oh, you see.
Father Doe hopes his parishioners will chip in to fix the statue. But he says the paint costs more than the repairs. In Flushing, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Meanwhile, Pope Francis is appealing to the faithful to pray for Haiti after that devastating earthquake last weekend killed thousands and left tens of thousands more injured or homeless. At the end of his Sunday Angelus, Pope Francis prayed for the people of Haiti.
Mentre levo al Signore la mia preghiera per le vittime, rivolgo la mia parola di incoraggiamento ai sopravvissuti, auspicati che verso di loro si muova l'interesse partecipe della comunità internazionale.
The earthquake center was about 80 miles west of the country's capital, Port-au-Prince, and was stronger than the 7.0 magnitude quake that devastated Haiti in 2010. Workers are sifting through the rubble of collapsed buildings and homes. We spoke with Father Louis Marasmi, pastor of St. Anne's Cathedral in Onsevo, as he was driving around his community offering food and help. He says many churches have been damaged or destroyed.
Even though we have such destruction here in my parish, we're lucky in comparison to some other parishes in my diocese where both the church and rectory have completely collapsed.
Expressing heartfelt prayers for the people of Haiti, U.S. bishops released a statement saying, in part, in these moments of continued trial, may you feel the comfort, compassion, and embrace of our Blessed Mother, Our Lady of Perpetual Help, patroness of Haiti. Intercede for us. Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio is asking churches in our diocese to take up a special collection for relief efforts in Haiti. His Excellency saying we'll continue to pray for them and will also pledge that with the Haitian community and others, we'll take up a collection to help whatever we can do. It comes as thousands of injured Haitians have overwhelmed the Caribbean nation's hospitals. But as Currents News' Jessica Easthope reports, Catholics here in the diocese are stepping up to lend a hand.
The phone is ringing off the hook at Assemblywoman Rodneyce Bichel-Hermelin's office.
Thank you for your donation.
Vladimir Edwards fielding calls from constituents wanting to donate food and supplies to Haiti.
Whether it's diapers or a little bit of food, at least it's showing that someone that really needs it, they're going to be able to get it.
When news of a 7.2 magnitude earthquake made its way to Brooklyn, organizations and churches mobilized. Vladimir, a parishioner at Holy Innocents, made sure his family back in Haiti was okay, but knows every piece of supplies that can make it there will be desperately needed.
It's going to be hard for the people to really pick up from these devastations, and with the infrastructure crumbling daily, it's heartbreaking, honestly.
Toothpaste, diapers.
Tyler Rocky heard the office was collecting supplies and got together bags of the essentials.
It's been a very difficult month, obviously, in Haiti. And anything we can do to help, we're going to try to do.
The Diocese of Brooklyn will be doing its own special collection at Masses to aid Haiti. In a statement, Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio said, quote, we'll continue to pray for them and will also pledge that with the Haitian community and others, we'll take a collection up to help, whatever we can do. Collections in the Diocese of Brooklyn will begin once all parishes and pastors are notified. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
And several Catholic and other relief organizations are already on the ground in Haiti. If you'd like to donate directly to their efforts, you can find out how at netny.tv/Haiti Relief. There's a lot more news headed your way. The choice between education and parenthood has just been made easier, all thanks to a scholarship for expectant mothers. And the moment the Knights of Columbus have been praying for, a feast day of their founding father.
There are now some big changes to the Tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
A recent college graduate is kicking off a brand new scholarship for moms, promoting the pro-life message. Currents News' Emily Druby reports from Flushing.
a goal that I would like to do. Goals. Malika Pegues has a lot of them, like finishing college and becoming a neuropsychologist. Goals she's working towards while raising 3 girls.
Being a mom while in school, I'm not gonna lie, is very, very complicated, but it is very much possible.
She has new support from Josephine Rose, who founded the Kathleen Mullally Foundation, named after her late aunt. It gives college scholarships to pregnant or parenting students. An active member of the national pro-life group Students for Life, the Catholic and recent Queens College grad wanted to help women who choose life.
It's on us, as Christians and members of the human family to support that and to make sure that yes, you can follow your dreams and have a family.
It's new, but she's raised almost $15,000. Malika got the first $1,000 scholarship.
She made it so easy to choose her.
A Christian, a mother of 3, a veteran. During the pandemic, Malika moved her family into a domestic abuse survivor shelter. She's been through so much, but her grades never suffered. The money given during a ceremony at Queens Pregnancy Support Center, the Bridge to Life.
I am a one-income household. I really don't get any support with raising my daughters, so it really did help me with bill payment.
Right now, the scholarship is for Queens College students, but soon Josephine hopes to take it statewide and even national, promoting life and furthering education all over the country. In Flushing, Queens, Emily Drewby, Currents News.
And another scholarship available to the faithful, this one in memory of a young man whose very name means saint. Our Jessica Easthope reports from Bay Ridge.
Christian Santo is hard to forget. His parents, Karen and Bill, couldn't be more proud of him.
Christian wanted to help everyone. He just put himself last all the time.
When he wasn't giving haircuts to children with autism, playing baseball, or spending time with family, the 27-year-old Xaverian graduate was finding a way to help someone else.
I learned more about my son Christian after he passed away than I knew of him when he was alive. Well, he was all heart, my son. He had one of the most beautiful hearts I've ever seen.
On Bill's birthday last year, when he hadn't heard from his son, he and Karen drove to his Bay Ridge apartment just a few blocks from their family home. Christian had died of heart failure, and in a flash, everything he was became a memory.
I cry because I miss him, but I really feel he's in a better place.
Determined to keep that memory alive, the Santos acted fast, raising money for academic and baseball scholarships in Christian's name at his alma mater, St. Thomas Aquinas College, and creating this memorial.
It's basically a reflection, because that's what my son would want for you.
Christian's passing has taught the Santos what it really means to have faith.
I miss him terribly, and that's where my faith comes in. I truly believe that I will see my son again.
As the one-year anniversary of Christian's passing approaches, the Santos are getting ready to give away 2 full tuition scholarships, and they'll continue to help anyone and everyone in Christian's name, because that's what he would have done. In Bay Ridge, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
A special moment for the Knights of Columbus as they celebrated the first ever feast of their founding father. Last year, Father Michael McGivney took one step closer to sainthood after Pope Francis declared the Connecticut priest to be blessed. Now, the Knights are praying for a miracle to finalize Father McGivney's title as saint.
We're praying for that miracle, and we hope it happens soon. But in the meantime, we are doing the work of our founder.
Father Michael McGivney started the Knights of Columbus in 1882 with the purpose of helping widows and families going through tough times. Pope Francis has moved 10 sisters in Poland one step closer to sainthood. Jessica Easthope has their story.
It's a recognition they weren't given in their lifetime. These 10 nuns are now blesseds, killed by Soviet soldiers in Poland during the last months of World War II.
The Soviets were brutal, many times more brutal than the Nazis. And it's a great gift to the church to have the witness of these women finally recognized.
This summer, the group of Sisters of St. Elizabeth were cleared for beatification. Monsignor Thomas Mahalski said the women showed immense bravery. They died protecting each other and children as they faced rape and brutal torture.
It shows the depth of their faith, that there was nothing that was going to shake their faith in the Lord, that even if it meant their life.
There aren't many pictures of the women because sadly, their story isn't uncommon. In 1945, as the Nazi Party was moving out, the Soviet army was moving in, and more than 100 nuns were killed by Soviet soldiers. Monsignor Michalski says a communist regime was part of everyday life when he lived in Poland, more than 40 years later.
Be it a priest or a consecrated religious in Poland, the authorities made that very difficult for you.
But the sisters' courage and faith can still resonate among Catholics today.
Ask their intercession. I mean, we never know when God's going to use, through their intercession, that occasion to work a miracle in someone's lives.
Monsignor Michalski says, like a miracle, a moment of bravery can happen when you least expect it. In Bayside, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Still to come on this special edition of Currents News, how a coffee shop in the Bronx is strengthening the community through faith. And we're finally able to see Pope Francis's soccer skills after one nonprofit gave him a unique gift. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Looking for Christian enlightenment along with a cup of coffee and maybe a muffin? A cafe in the Bronx may be just the place for you. Emily Drewby takes us there.
I am the way, truth, and life, a verse from the gospel and the inspiration behind the Way Cafe. The Bronx business serves up coffee and faith.
How would Jesus run a business? That's one thing I think about.
Co-owner Andy Weaver is a Mennonite, a faith stream within Christianity, sometimes mistaken for Amish because of the similarities. He moved here from Pennsylvania after seeing a need for evangelization in the area. Opening the Way Cafe in the middle of the pandemic. It's a unique space for New York City where faith is front and center.
We want this to be a place where people can come, feel an environment of peace, have a place where they can sit down, study, where they can feel God's presence.
Psalms on the wall, books for exploring Christianity, and employees ready to talk about the faith if customers want. Andy says some even use the cafe for Bible study.
Relationships, caring for people. If somebody comes in and they want to talk, or we want to be there to bless others' lives as we have opportunity.
For other locals, calm music and friendly faces make it a place of solace.
It's a really positive vibe. When you walk in, it's like instant.
Andy says as people become more comfortable gathering in groups, they hope to hold faith-based events to strengthen the community they've begun to build here. In the Bronx, Emily Drewby, Currents News.
Pope Francis has received dozens of soccer jerseys and game balls from the faithful over the past 8 years. And now the soccer-loving pontiff can finally show off his skills. Sure, it's just a foosball table, but the Holy Father can be seen enjoying it nonetheless. A Tuscany-based nonprofit gifted His Holiness with the table and says it was designed to be inclusive for people of all physical abilities. And that's it for this special edition of Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. On Monday, Currents News is back to our shortened newscast, giving us time to move to our new studio. And remember, you can always stay connected with us by visiting our website, currentsny.tv. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.